Hi guys, and welcome to a new video on Sono's Life. We are here. I'm sorry if I don't look the best, but I had to be here to make this review of New Japan's New Beginning in Osaka show, because if anyone didn't watch it, and I mean I assume either you have watched it or you don't mind me giving you spoilers, he did it! He did it! Hiroki Goto! After 22 years, 9 years after his last challenge against Kazuchika Okada, has won the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. That's how we're starting it, and along with that, it was another amazing show from New Japan. So obviously, I am here to look through it all, to look through the results, the huge storylines going through, and holy shit, New Japan. You've done it again. So yeah, let's just get started. We obviously started with the pre-show, and this saw Jeff Cobb and Francesco Akira facing Murashima and El Desperado. And obviously at the anniversary show, Akira has challenged El Desperado for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight belt. And Akira won this by a roll-up, so this is great momentum for him going forward. Now, the big news that has also come out of this was Jeff Cobb saying that he needs to take some time away. He's always wanted to be in New Japan, but something needs to change. Now, I know a lot of people are worried, but as someone who's been studying Japanese for a few years now, the nuance in the final word he said matane. Now, matane is like a see you later. When I do my Japanese classes, I'll say to my teacher, mataraishu, which means I'll see you next week. Matane is something used when you're going to see somebody again, whereas sayonara is more like a permanent farewell. So I like to hope that Jeff Cobb is just going to go and find himself, and that this isn't goodbye, it's just see you later. So that had a lot to come out. We then started with the opening match. Now this is obviously Tanahashi's retirement tour, and he faced a man he first faced back in 1999, the Unchained Gorilla Togi Makabe. Now, this wasn't a spectacle. This wasn't your wrestling masterpiece. In particular, the final ending moments seemed quite clunky, especially when Tanahashi went for a bridge pin and it just seemed a bit clunky. However, this match was for the New Japan veterans, for the ones who have been watching it for years, who have followed it. The crowds were really loving it. This showcased that, you know what, at one point, Makabe was above Tanahashi, but the tables have reversed. By putting him in the first match, we all know Tanahashi's knees are up to it, and I mean, compared to Tanahashi, Makabe is in much better shape. However, by having it at the start, you're not impacting the real quality of the show, because I think it was just under 10 minutes. So you didn't impact the quality, but you gave fans a storyline to hook on to. So yeah, great way to start it, and this is where we really got cooking. We then had Shingo Takagi facing Driller Maloney. Now obviously, in the Road 2 shows, if you've not watched it, go and watch it because it's phenomenal. And they have had a really good feud against each other. Obviously, Driller is looking to go heavyweight, and what's been quite nice about this show in particular was that Clark Connors was on commentary. So he was really pushing for this. Now remember, Driller has beaten a heavyweight before. He beat Tetsuya Naito. However, that was with a lot of interference. So this match from the very beginning was hard hitting. The two men, while very big, are still very athletic, because they had similar journeys if you think about it. When they came to New Japan, they were both juniors, and now, well, Shingo obviously made the successful transition, and now Driller is hoping to do that. And genuinely, this was a phenomenal match from start to end. This went, and I like looking at matches, this just went over 10 minutes. But after the first 5 minutes, even Clark was like, yo, this just felt like so much longer. The reason for that is because it was massively dynamic from start to end. There was not a moment that was unnecessary. When you had a small break when they went on the outside, it was so Driller could get some momentum. Because for the large portion of the first starting part, Driller had the advantage. He was using his strength. At one point, he hit a Made in the UK, Made in England. Obviously, a take on Shingo's Made in Japan. And by God, that was amazing. But then Shingo had the crowds on the edge of their seats, because he suddenly turned his tables. Because while you could be like, oh, well, Driller is a junior, or he was a junior, Shingo never underestimates his opponent. And he put in 110%. But shockingly, well, not shockingly to me, because I said this in my predictions on True Heel Heat. Driller Maloney got the win with the Driller Killer. Now this is huge, because this means now Driller has beaten 2 former heavyweight champions, this one fully clean. So I'm really excited to see what the future holds. And then we had another special singles match. So this was Okan versus Shota Umino. Again, a feud that has been very nice since the duration of this tour. For anyone who doesn't know, this is a good feud to have, because obviously Shota is down in the dumps from losing at Wrestle Kingdom and losing at Wrestle Kingdom. Okan is sort of faltering because he obviously failed to get the tag titles. And they are very similar in the dojo class. And there was a lot of like, Okan was going with scissors and things, and this was a very brutal match. From the very beginning, Okan showcased a lot of brutality. And at the start, Shota seeming to wanting to do his showboating. But rather than complete his entrance, it was Shota who started the match early. And this is good. This is what we want from Shota, something different. This match showcased strength. You could see that Okan was almost like egging Shota to do something. And Shota was trying. Shota was showing a bit of aggression we've been asking for, a bit of that heelish tendency. However, shockingly in the end, Okan got the win. And obviously he's been going out with the scissors and the shaver. And as Okan was going to go and shave Shota's hair, Shota took it himself and shaved some of it off. Now, I don't know if anyone remembers when Uemura and Suji had their hair versus hair. This is exactly what happened. Rather than allowing Suji to shave his hair, Uemura took it on himself, realizing, okay, I lost. And for me, this is much bigger for Shota, because Shota realized, I'm not the person that I'm meant to be, the potential I had. Remember, as a young lion, you shave your head till you lose your individuality, because you're training as one. And when you get your hair back, you sort of become a person. And for Shota to shave his hair almost is like, he acknowledges that he needs to go back to the start. He needs to go back to his roots and find something new. While it's not the heel turn everyone wanted, it's a new beginning for Shota, thus the name of the tour. So I think it was very nice narratively. I love when New Japan do this storytelling, so it's very good. We then had another special singles match. So this was my ex-husband Sanada versus my current husband Taichi. This is again another match that has so much story, obviously going back to when Sanada betrayed just 5 guys, with just 4 guys, with just 3 guys. And going into this, so I know people say they want more passion and stuff out of Sanada. He gave that, but the star of this match was Taichi. He comes out and he's doing the heel tendencies that we saw when he was in Suzuki-gun. But this has an air of difference. Rather than it just being for the sake of a heel, this is Taichi showcasing his hurt, his betrayal from his former best friend. And I remember, like, at one point when obviously Sanada does this thing where he distracts the ref and gets a low blow. But in one of the pre-show matches, or like the warm-up matches, Sanada pretended that Taichi did it to get him disqualified. Now, again, he did this, but Taichi managed to warn him off, like, no, ref, we need to carry this on, just to give him a low blow. Now, obviously, with the help of Ishimori, and there was a guitar and all sorts, Sanada got the win. However, as Sanada and Ishimori started beating up Taka and Taichi, guess who was going to come out? Uemura made his return after months on the injured list. Obviously, he got injured in the match back in the G1. Not too fan of the beard and stuff. But this is great. This is now starting a feud, because you can still carry on Taichi versus Sanada. But you now have an extra layer that Uemura is coming back. He was injured. And what happened when he was injured? Sanada betrayed Taichi. The men who were moulding him to be the future. So this is very exciting. We now have all of the young lions back. They're all fighting. So this was great. We then got into the title matches. I feel bad that I'm whizzing through all this, but we have some amazing matches at the top of the card that I need to speak about. So we had the IWGP Junior Tag Titles, and that was Ichiban Sweet Boys, the champions, Fujita and Robbie, facing Roppongi Revice, Rocky and Yo. If you want to know my thoughts on this whole thing, go to True Heel Heat. I did a really nice, I was speaking about it with J News and SB3, about the dynamic between the men, and how it really shows how much wrestling and traditional views on gender and sexuality have changed on the part of Yo. But this match was amazing. Now, for a team that doesn't really team together as much, because obviously Rocky is in the States, Roppongi Revice worked together perfectly. However, this should not downplay what Ichiban Sweet Boys were doing. The combination of the new upcoming future with Fujita and the veteran in Robbie Eagles. Combine that with Yo and Rocky, create some really nice interactions throughout this. We had moments where Yo was on the offense, Yo was on the defense, similar with all the rest of them. And it was quite funny because we saw some of the classics out of Rocky Romero. And there were moments where he was using his sneaky stuff. So was it a roll-up? Was it trying to get sliced bread to get the win? And you could see that Robbie, and I love this about Robbie, was letting Fujita be the star of this. Yeah, he was helping, he was coming to the assist, he was beating down the opponent. But he let him shine. Even in the final minutes when they hit their tag team finisher, Robbie allowed Fujita to hit his finisher to get the pin over Rocky. Now, why is this huge? It proves that Fujita is not the future of New Japan's junior division. He is the now. He has pinned Rocky Romero, one of the most veteran junior heavyweights, one of the most veteran and successful junior tag wrestlers in New Japan. I'm very excited. And after that, Ishimori came down, because obviously we need to know who's challenging next, and he made the claim that him and Robbie X will be challenging Ichiban Sweet Boys next. And if you followed me and you followed the UK scene, you'll know how much I am obsessed with Robbie X, so it'll be exciting to see this again. We then went on to the Never title, and we, like I said, this is like match after match after match, banger after banger after banger. So we then had the Never title on the line, so Bolton Oleg facing the triple contracted Konosuke Takeshita. Now, let's bring this out. This match banged. This slapped hard. It was two beefy men hitting the shit out of each other. And I'm going to say this. I have no way any criticisms about Oleg's work inside the ring. However, as much as Oleg is amazing, I want something more. When Takeshita made his entrance, he had this star quality. When he's in the ring, everything he does, not just because of his flashy ring gear, but the way he presents himself in the ring creates something. So while I was going, oh my god, Oleg, that's amazing. When Takeshita was hitting mood, I was like, holy shit, this man is a star. And I know I might be in the minority, I might be in the majority, but I need something more from Oleg to showcase that he's not that young lion anymore. Whether he needs to go on excursion, he needs a change of gear, he needs to move away from Hontai. His match with Takeshita has given me glimpses of that, because this was probably the most personality I've seen out of him since he debuted. So I need him to keep that going. And obviously, there's no lie, Takeshita is phenomenal. He is working 3 contracts. He is doing his thing in all the companies as champion, and I'm really excited. Especially because after the match, who should come out? Oiwa. Don't make me wait for this, New Japan. Give it me now. Give me Takeshita versus when I'm tired, I can never pronounce. Give me Takeshita versus Oiwa now. Because if you thought that Oleg versus Takeshita was a bitch slap meat fest, wait till you see Oiwa if you watched his match with Yoshihashi. So yeah, again, phenomenal. We then had a surprise, there was quite a few surprising results. So we had the Young Bucks defending their IWGP Heavyweight title for the first time against Hiromu and Naito. Tenderero, that's the team name, that's the name of the move that they use. I'm sorry if I butchered the names. Tenderero, I believe. Now, going into this, you know what? I have criticisms for Matt and Nick Jackson. I always have, even when they were semi-contracted to New Japan. But there is no denying that they are 2 very talented men. They are very similar in the sense. So, Naito, when he was in No Limit with Yujo, they had held both the junior and the heavyweight tag titles. Obviously, the Young Bucks held, obviously different times, the junior and the heavyweight tag titles. So this was quite interesting because all 4 men have a very dynamic style. Now obviously Naito again is not the best. There was a failed botched Destino, but overall, and this is where New Japan is working very well, is they know Naito is a top draw, but they know he's not working as well as he has in the past. So by combining him with the powerhouse that is Hiromu, they are creating amazing matches where Naito can lean on Hiromu, not just for his in-ring style, but his flamboyant personality. So you've got the bubbliness of Hiromu with the tranquilo of Naito. And that works really well, and I really like that. And again, Nick and Matt Jackson, they did their dynamic style. They were hitting tandem offense. But also there was like a bit of, reservation from them. Like, this is the first time, obviously aside from Wrestle Dynasty, that they wrestled in front of a New Japan crowd in years. And they know they're not the favourites, not just because of whether Japanese crowds follow what's happening in AEW, but you are never going to be as popular as Hiromu and Naito. But obviously, in the end, surprisingly holding their reign at like just around a month, but which is not the shortest ever reign ever. Naito hit a very nice Destino after an assist from Hiromu to get the win, and they are the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Champs. They have brought the belts back to Japan. New Japan, what was the point of giving the belts to the Bucks? I don't get it, but at least they didn't drag it on too long. At least the belts weren't held hostage, so solid. We then got up to what I like to call the double main event. Two of the best matches, the two best matches of the night, the two best matches of the year, two of the best matches I've ever watched in New Japan. We started with the IWGP Global Championship match. Champion Yota Tsuji facing Gabriel Kidd. Now, I'm going to have to go back and watch this because my heart was pounding so much that I didn't feel like I could enjoy it properly because I was so tense. These men have so much history. But from going back to the dojo, they kept bringing this up of how like they were the first matches together when obviously the pandemic happened. They worked with each other in their New Japan dojo through the pandemic and things. And going into it, the cheers and how Gabe was sort of interacting with the crowd, he knows he's loved. He knows that after his match with Kenny, his match with Ishii, that he is no longer a heel, and I'm going to talk about that later. Suji came out. Listen to shorts, how exciting. But this match was phenomenal. You know what? I always say Suji is a really well-rounded wrestler. Obviously, the UK, he's had Japan, he's had Mexico. Gabe was doing that as well. He was showing off Lucha Gabe. There were hard hits, there were strikes, there was flips, there was speed, and the chemistry between these two in the ring was unmatched. The crowds were great the whole way through, but this is where the crowds really turned. They were really hyped for both of their boys that they have watched come through the system. Whether it was Gabe coming from the UK, then to New Japan, then he obviously went to the LA dojo, then he came back, or Suji, someone who has come through, he did sports, and then he went to New Japan. It was a match that made me really emotional. Like I said, had my heart on the edge. They were beating each other so much that while they've discussed in an interview, Gabe actually went, "Who are the three musketeers? It's me, Uemura, and Suji." You could see that the respect for them was so much that actually that made them want to fight even more. And it, you know what, like, going into this, I assumed that Suji was going to win because I was like, it's his first defense. But what would happen to Gabe? At first I was like, I don't think that Gabe would be disadvantaged by a loss. But New Japan figured that out. They had a knockout draw. So obviously both men knocked each other out. And after the count of 10, Red Shoes called it a draw. And that was the perfect thing to do because now you can carry on this feud. But you also don't make either man look bad. Now after the match, House of Torture came out. At first I thought it was all to do with Ren Narita, because Ren Narita obviously, Rainbow Musketeer, similar class as them. But then Evil came out. Now at first Evil basically like teased that he was going good, then he didn't hit and everything is evil. But what happened after was the most interesting. He went to Gabe and sent a message to David Finlay saying that War Dogs is no longer associated with the Bullet Club. Now, does this mean that Evil is feuding with Suji? Because obviously he seemed to help Suji but then hit everything is evil. Or is this now leading on to a feud with the War Dogs? What's going on with the Bullet Club? Because we've always had this question of like, are they together, are they not? We'll just have to see. And with Evil seemingly mentioning David Finlay, maybe the thoughts on his contract expiring aren't exactly true. So we will have to wait and see. But I mean, after that match, I thought, could I possibly be happier? Woo, we had Hiroki Goto facing Sabre Jr. for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, and I can't control my emotions. So, before the match started, Hiroki Goto made his entrance. Can I say, the crowds have always been Team Goto throughout this tour. But I don't think I've ever heard a crowd so loud that I couldn't hear Goto's music. I love Goto's music. Goto's music is a banger. But I could not hear it over the chants of Goto, Goto, Goto. And while Zach got cheers, you could tell that the team, like the crowd was firmly Goto. So was I. But this match was phenomenal. We've seen Zach and Goto face each other in the past. They've done G1s, they've done New Japan Cups, they've done tag leagues. This was special. And what I like about this is, while Zack is a phenomenal wrestler and showcased his amazing skills, Goto was the star. Goto at first was trying to match Zack with his ground-based submission, and I like that commentary. Shout out to commentary, Walker and Clark Connors. I love that duo. Clark's, because it was so early in the morning, Clark was emoting in the way that I couldn't do, because I couldn't shout so early. So thanks for that. They were like, Goto shouldn't do this. He shouldn't. But it showcased that 22 years, Goto can do it all. There was passion in every hit, in every lariat, in every kick. And again, everything that Zack was doing, they pointed out he was going back to his Suzuki-gun roots with those PKs. Goto hit him with the same. And as the match got on, it's been a long show. The crowds were getting more and more excited. The chants for Goto were getting more and more. At the start, if I felt, oh my god, they're not going to have Goto win, because within like a few minutes, I think it was like 5-10 minutes, Zack hit the Zack driver. He'd done it multiple times. He was getting submissions that physically looked like Goto would have to tap out. But drawing from the crowd's attention, he managed to get, like, one point there was like an abdominal stretch or something where Goto literally had no way out. But the crowds were chanting and chanting, and he got to that bottom rope. And every time a move was hit, I was like, because this has been 22 years. The last time that Goto challenged was the 11th of February, 2016 against Kazuchika Okada. And this was exactly 9 years on. And I thought Goto, with everything they'd been doing, I thought Goto had a chance. But people were putting doubts, and they're like, well, Gato doesn't like Goto. Why would they wait until he's in his mid-40s? With the final GTR, Hiroki Goto won the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, and I've never heard a crowd so excited. I'm not a crier. Right? I don't cry at all. I apparently have an emotional capacity of like an ice cube. But New Japan has managed to bring out emotions from me that I didn't know I had. When Doki won with Zack Sabre Jr. and now when Hiroki Goto won, they did it in such a way that my emotions were so much that I just had to cry. Goto was crying. The symbolism when Yoshihashi put the belt on him. The man who stuck by him from the very beginning. He brought his kids into the match, speaking about his father. New Japan, they make us wait for things. They tease us and tease us, but they do everything in the right way. They didn't have anyone come out and interrupt him. They let Goto speak from the heart. And that was probably the most beautiful moment I've ever watched in New Japan. This man has been New Japan since he was a young lion. Then he was a junior. Then he was a heavyweight. And we spent years saying he's always the bridesmaid, never the bride. He'd done multiple times challenge for this belt and never got it. And finally in 2025, he created a new beginning for himself. I know we've been pushing this narrative of the future, but we need something new, and why not give Goto that chance? Does he need to hold the belt for 7-8 months? No. But just this symbolism proves that he's done everything that he's worked for. And then in the post-match comments, he mentioned that he wanted to face Hiroshi Tanahashi at the anniversary show. Then Yuji Nagata said he wanted to come and have a title shot. In any normal thing, I'd say, why are you letting all these old fogies challenge? But with Goto, it feels fresh. It feels like when you say you want New Japan to try something new, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go with new talent. It's trying something new. They did that with Zack Sabre Jr. They've done that with Hiroki Goto, and I'm really excited and still quite emotional over what has happened. New Japan had amazing 2 shows for New Japan, Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty that I was there for. So thank you for giving me the storytelling, the amazing wrestling, the emotions that I want from when I watch wrestling. So yeah, I've gone on for about 25 minutes. But now it's your turn to let me know your thoughts in the comments on social media at wrestling_chat. Let me know your thoughts of the matches, the storylines. Share your outpour of emotions for Hiroki Goto finally winning. This was an amazing match, amazing show. And I want to know your thoughts, because obviously this is just the start. This is the first chapter of 2025 for New Japan, and we've got so much more to go. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the show as much as I did. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. And yeah, until the next video. Bye!